guys, welcome back. I'm Lisa, and in today's video I will be decorating a Maleficent themed birthday cake based off the Disney movies. So let's jump in. To have a little fun, I dyed the vanilla cake batter a lime green color, and I torted the layers and I'm filling them with a strawberry cream filling. Now, whenever you use a runny filling like this, you need to make sure you make a buttercream dam like I did using a coupler in a bag so that the filling doesn't ooze out the sides, because if you don't, it will ooze out. So you don't want that. So always use a little dam of buttercream icing to fill that in. And here I'm just crumb coating. Now you take buttercream, you thin it down with some water, and you crumb coat. Don't skip this step. It is important. And it helps seals in all the crumbs so that your final coat looks nice, and it also seals in the moisture in the cake. And then once I get it done crumb coating, I always pop it back in the fridge for like 15-20 minutes, and I let that crumb coating set up because it's always easier to work on a chilled cake than it is a room temperature cake. Now, I have no idea what in the world possessed me, but I decided to put the final coat of icing on with a spatula instead of what I normally do, which is like this, where I put it on with a bag and a coupler. But no, I decided I'm going to put it on with a spatula, and honestly, I regretted it immediately. Because to put it on with a spatula, you thin the icing down some so that it's not stiff, because you can't put stiff icing on with a spatula. And then you go over it, and then you have to go back and fill in all the little dips like I'm doing here, and you go over it again, and then you fill in more dips, and you keep doing that until you get an ultra smooth surface, or until you go screaming into the night, either one. I did it for a little bit and just thought, heck with this. And I went back to my paper towel method once I got it on to get it really smooth. Now, how you do the paper towel method is you get a paper towel that does not have a pattern to it. The only one I found here in the States is Viva, V-I-V-A, paper towels. Their signature does not have their signature cloth does not have a pattern to it. And then you just go over it with fondant smoother. And you can go over that top edge to give it a look, to make it look like the cake is covered in fondant when it's actually buttercream. Or you could do it straight up and still get those sharp edges as well. Here I'm going over the Maleficent dragon. I'm using a dotting tool here to kind of trace the outline of the dragon. Now, I printed this dragon off the internet, and you can do this with any pattern, logos of ball teams or whatever, and trace it onto the fondant. And then once you get it all traced, you just cut it out with an X-Acto knife. Be careful on some of the teeth and the smaller details, because those can get pulled off. So be careful when you're cutting, but it's very easy to transfer patterns this way. I repeated the procedure for the purple part, and I attached it to the black fondant with just a little bit of water. Now, in my head, I pictured this like glowy background where the dragon was going to attach to the cake, like a yellow. So I got the airbrush machine out, and I went over where the places that I'm going to set the dragon, but I don't know, with the lime green buttercream, it just didn't show up. It looked really cool in my head, but not so much in reality. I mean, it's okay, but I don't know that many people would even notice it if, you didn't point it out, kind of thing. It looked way cooler in my head than what it looks here on the cake, but I still think it looks nice. And I luster dust the dragon to kind of give it a bit of a sparkle. And now on to the next step. I need to make the horns. Well, I thought I was filming me making the horns, but the battery died on the camera, and so don't have it. Sorry, by the time I noticed it, I was already just putting the last little finishing touches, the lines in the horns to give them some detail. And then I just pop them on the cake and using black buttercream, I am creating the thorns in the movie. Thorns are prominent. And evidently, I actually haven't seen this movie. And I do get asked that, like, people will ask me to do cakes. And it always helps if you've seen the movie before, but sometimes you just kind of got to wing it. And that's what I'm doing here. I have not seen this movie. But I'm creating the thorns with like a tip 3 and some thin consistency black buttercream. And I just go over the cake. Once I finished all the vine work, I used some purple buttercream and a tip number 5 to create a purple dot border around the bottom of the cake to finish the look. And here the cake is finished. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button so YouTube will push it out to more people. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.